Right on. All done. Hey, what is up everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day today. Staying cool in that heat that we seem to be getting right now. So I am currently down here at my shop where I work. And what I'm going to do is process this nice pile of copper that you see. Basically, by processing all this copper, we are going to get the most money at our scrapyard for it. So currently, this copper, that's all this copper pipe, a lot of it has solder and different pieces like this that they've had to solder together. And we want to clean those up so that we can get copper number 1 for all this copper, because if we don't, then we would currently get copper number 2. So we're gonna clean up any piece that has solder on it and cut those pieces off and sort them into their piles, and that way we can get the most value for it. Now this pile of copper that you see, we actually took those out of industrial lights, and currently if I was to just leave those the way that they are, we would actually only get like 50 or 60 cents a pound for those. Whereas if we actually take all the plastic that you see on it and the little wires out of it, that will turn into copper number 2, which is currently worth about $2.40 a pound here in Canada. Now, every scrapyard is different, but at our scrapyard, that's what they would give us. So we're going to be cutting all these pieces that have any solder off. That way we can get copper number 1 and copper number 2. Instead of copper breakage, we're going to get all the plastic off of these so we can turn it into copper number 2. And then we have this drain over here that has brass pieces on it. If we were to leave that the way that it is as well, we would only get about 50 cents a pound for dirty brass. Whereas if we cut it off right about where that line is, each one of those lines, we can turn it into copper number 2 and clean brass. So it's a pretty big pile that we have here that needs to be processed. So I'm gonna put on my gear and get this stuff processed. That way we can make the most money from our copper. Alrighty, so I do have my safety glasses on, as well as my steel toe boots, just so when I am processing any of this, I don't hit my toes and I don't get anything in my eyes. Now, when I am cutting up the copper pipes, I will be wearing a respirator as well, because you don't really want to be breathing any of this stuff in as well. So basically, all I have to do is just get this plastic that is on here off of here. That way we get the most money for it. So I am going to kind of just smack it a little bit to break it up, and that way it should be easier to get the plastic off. And yeah, we will get this all processed up. See, now as you can see, it all just kind of falls apart. And you can go like this and take it all off, and all this stuff will actually fall off. Look at that. It's like a big copper slinky. Pieces. Just gotta clip that off. Alrighty, so I just did one of those and it only took me about a minute or so to do. And like I said, now that will all be classified as copper number 2. And here you can see all the plastic and stuff just kind of comes right off as you pull it all apart into this long strand. And now I just got 8 more to go. 7 more to go. And there we have it, all done. So, there's a whole box full of number 2 copper. And there's all that plastic stuff. And that only took me about 20 minutes to do. So not too bad. And this box, it's quite a bit. So, not too bad. Now we're going to move on to all of these copper pipes. Okay. So again, in order to make this copper number 1, I do have to cut this piece off. I'm going to cut it right about there because as you can see, the solder runs down. And sometimes runs down on the inside of it as well. So just to be safe, I'm going to cut it off right about there. And this will be classified as number 2. And this piece will be classified as number 1. And there's quite a few pieces that I have to do this for. And almost all those down there. So I'm going to start doing that. And we will show you the 2 piles when it's all done. Yeah. So there is a lot of different tools that you could use to do this. One of them being like a pair of cutters or something like that. Or I do have an air cutter that I am going to be using on that bigger piece of pipe. But for these little ones, I don't really want to use up my blades. So I am just going to use a hacksaw. And yeah, just take your time and boom. And there we have it. And there's no solder on the inside there. So that is now classified as a piece of number 1 copper pipe. So just got about 30 more to go. There we go. So not too bad. Only about, I would say 15 pieces there from all the bigger pipes. And the rest of them are really clean pieces anyways. So this is now a pile of copper number 1. And that is copper number 2. So now what we have left is that big, huge thing right there. So I'm gonna buff off a little bit of the dirt and stuff that's on there, and then we will cut it apart. Right on. All done. So there are the brass pieces. I just buffed them up a little bit just so that way when I do bring them in, they can see that they are definitely brass and that these are definitely copper number 2. So yeah, for about an hour's worth of work, I would say we probably made an extra about $25 to $30 just for processing this little bit of scrap that we have. So there's number 1, number 2, a little more number 2, and clean brass. Not too bad. Alrighty.
Right on, honey. Good job.
Look at that.
That's really processed down. That's going to actually increase our value. And if you are new to scrapping, process your copper.
Absolutely.
It can make a big difference when you go into the scrapyard on what your payout's going to be, what they're going to give you for it. So this increased the value.
Absolutely. We probably doubled the value on what we originally had. If I would have brought in what we originally had just by itself, we probably would have got about 25 bucks. And I'm guessing for all this stuff here, just as it is, we will probably get close to $50.
I'm happy with that.
So that's not too bad.
And in the time that it took you to break that down, I put little man in his little kiddie pool out on the deck, and he had a blast, so
worked out perfect.
It was a win-win there too.
Absolutely.
All right on. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make it to the scrapyard tomorrow. I do have a doctor's appointment, so I've got to take care of that. But I'm hoping this week we're going to get into the scrapyard, bring in a scrap load, and see what we're going to get for a little bit extra money. So this is really going to add up too. So I'm excited that you did this, honey. Way to go.
Awesome. So yeah, just hope everybody's out there having a great day today.
Oh, and definitely keep pushing your dream. Keep pushing your passion. However, whenever you can, try to have fun with it. And we will see you soon.
We will see you guys soon.
Love you guys.
Yeah.